Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Horse Designs. This week we're going to make this cute little box that holds a dozen mini Cadbury cream eggs. So it's just a little box that you can do that with. And then after Easter's over, you can reuse the box as a pencil box. It's just the right size to hold pencils and some other paper crafting tools. So before we switch cameras, just want to let you know, please do click on the subscribe button if you haven't already down on the lower right of this video. And if you click on the little bell next to that, then it will notify you whenever I upload new videos. So let's switch camera and get started. I'm going to begin by using the Fable Friends stamp set for this. I was simply after the Happy Spring greeting, but look at all these cute little images that you could use, whether it be for Easter or anything else. I originally bought this set because I fell in love with the rabbit. It reminded me of Bear Rabbit from the Beatrice Potter fairy tales, nursery rhymes. So we'll be using just this greeting here. For our ink, one color of ink today, just Gorgeous Grape. For our papers, we're going to use Gorgeous Grape today, and our cardstock measures 6 1/4 inches by 10 3/4 inches. These measurements and a complete supply list will be over on my blog. A piece that measures 4 inches by 8 3/4 inches. And for our designer series paper, I chose to use Perennial Essence. I just love this impressionistic floral pattern. So we need a piece that measures 2 5/8 by 7 1/8. Two pieces that measure 1 5/8 by 7 1/8. One piece that measures 5/8 of an inch by 7 1/8. Then we need two pieces that measure 1 5/8 by 2 5/8, and two pieces that measure 5/8 by 2 5/8. The tools we're going to be using today, I happen to have had one in my stash. I tend to cut out pieces in advance and just have them available, and I just pulled from my stash this little label here, punched from Whisper White, and this is from the Painted Labels dies. We're going to use some of the Petal Pink organdy striped ribbon, and we're going to use a glitter enamel dot. I like this Gorgeous Grape. It just sets everything off nicely. So we're going to use one little Gorgeous Grape glitter enamel dot. Our Simply Scored tool, and we're going to start with our big piece, and this piece measures 6 1/4 inches by 10 3/4 inches, and we're simply going to score this at 1 3/4 inches on all four sides. Then on our smaller piece, the piece that measures 4 inches by 8 3/4 inches, we are going to score on the 4-inch side at 3/4 of an inch, 3 1/4 inches. Nope, 3 1/2 inches, sorry. And on the long side, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch and at 8 inches. Our base, we've scored all four sides at 1 3/4 inches, and for our lid we have a 1/2 inch along the long side and 3/4 of an inch. This is going to be our hinge, the 1/2 inch side. This is going to be the front of our lid, and then 3/4 of an inch in on the sides as well. So let's fold and burnish all our lines. And so for our lid, let's go ahead and cut that one first. On our hinge side, we're going to cut this little square away on either side. So I'm just going to give it a slight angle on the hinge piece, and then I'm going to cut up along that score line. So we're just going to cut this little square away. And then over here on this side, we're just going to simply come in along that score line up to the score line. And then we're just going to notch this little tab so that when we put our lid together, we get a nice clean finish. And the same thing on the other side. So for our box, our base of our box, we're going to come up this on the short side. We're going to cut up to the score line. And then again, we're going to notch these tabs, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So let's start by putting our box together. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach our lid to our box base. So I'm going to put some liquid glue on here, and I'm going to glue this flap to the outside of my box. You do want to use a strong adhesive when you do this, so either liquid glue or tear and tape. I like liquid glue because it gives me those few moments you just saw to line it all up. So now we actually have our box and we're ready to start assembling our box. But before we do so, let's add our designer series paper. So this is the top. And when I'm looking at it, it's going to face this way. So I'm going to take my large piece, and I think I'm going to put it this way. And then all the other pieces will glue on pretty much the same way. So let's glue all these pieces on.
Someone created to be a part of something that can stand the test of time. Anyone can do it. You can be an inspiration.
And I'm going to save these two pieces till after we assemble the box. What I wanted to point out is that by putting that flap on the outside of the box, you see we have a nice clean edge in here, but then when we put the designer series paper on, it covered up that seam. So now it's time to start putting our box together. So I'm going to put this flap on the inside so that as this box goes together, we'll have a nice clean edge on the inside. And then when we put these last pieces of designer series paper on the outside, it will cover up that flap. So we have nice clean edges all the way around the outside and the inside as well. So we'll put that on the inside. So we'll put glue on this side of our flap and this side of our flap. And I'm just going to snug these up into the corner and get them good and tight, and come back the other way. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then we're going to glue these flaps and do the same thing for our lid. And there you have a cute little hinged box that can hold, let's pull our, I'm going to steal from another box. Didn't want to buy 2 boxes of these because I might eat them before I give them away. We can fit in the Mini Cadbury dozen cream eggs, or we can fill it with pens and pencils. Stamp my little tag. Not to mention, we need a little bit of baker's twine. We need to make a little string that we can tie this to our bow. So I'm just going to take it, and it needs to be about right about there. So I'm just going to pull that tight and snip off those tails. And now it's time to wrap our box of goodies. Now you do know that tying bows on camera is always much more difficult than tying bows off camera. So I'm going to slip this through. Just slide that tag out of the way. Trim our ends and just pull that and tug that in right underneath that bow, and there we have a cute little box. We have a cute little box that holds a dozen Mini Cadbury Crème Eggs. And then after Easter, you can simply take the ribbon and the tag off, or you could leave it on, or fill it with something else, and fill it with pencils. It's still usable, or any other kind of little tools that you want. Everyone for joining me when we made this cute little box. I hope you enjoyed it. And please do, again, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and click on the little bell next to it to be notified that when next time I post a video. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Happy trails.